Hey everyone, it's the Grumpy Meeple, and I am coming back at you with a look at the Cthulhu Death May Die Fear of the Unknown Kickstarter campaign from CMON, which I'm also referring to as the Holy Shit, CMON did something right campaign. Because this campaign is awesome, and it's like a direct response to most of the things that have sucked about CMON's recent campaigns. So you can see here it's doing great. It's at 1.8 mil with almost 14,000 backers and 6 days left. I think it's about halfway through maybe. And let's get into it. Let's take a look at what we got here. So first of all, let's look at the pledge levels. You got one level, the unknowable pledge. It's $100 right off the bat. This is a marked improvement for CMON over the last few campaigns that they've run, which have typically run like $20 to $30 more expensive than this. So I love to see them get back into the $100 price range. I think it turns a game like this from a instantly turns a game like this from a maybe to a must back, basically. Even though we know that the shipping is going to be insanely expensive, at least you really are getting value for your dollar. And we'll talk about that some more when we get into all of the unlocks and everything that we're seeing here. Cthulhu Death May Die is back with a new standalone box and upgraded rules. Marks a new season of the hit board game that brought a new twist to the mythos universe created by H.P. Lovecraft. So Cthulhu Death May Die is an awesome game. I haven't played it nearly as much as I need to, but I can attest to the fact that it's a fantastic great game. I love the way that it's organized. It's really easy to get to the table, really easy to clean up, scratches that kind of dungeon crawly, dice rolly, beer and pretzels itch with the Cthulhu mythos tacked on, which is rare, I think. And it's just it's an awesome game. The production value is out of this world. Fantastic game. This is more of it. It is a new core box. Some people might say, well, I don't want a new core box. I already have seasons 1 and 2. But we'll look at the components, and I'll show you why I actually don't think that this is really that big of an issue. Yeah, 1 to 5 player, plays in about 90 minutes. I don't know about that, but I'm slow playing everything, so. The core box comes with 6 new episodes and 2 new Elder boxes that bring new insanities and monsters, as well as new modular rules to the game. So that's one of the really cool things about the Death May Die system is that you have these boxes for the Elder monsters, or whatever they're called, the Elders, and then you have these episode boxes, and you can mix and match them. So the bigger your collection gets, the more dynamic and the more options you have for playthroughs and whatnot. And again, it's not like something like Shadows of Brimstone, which I'm doing a video series on right now, where you get those options, but you pay for it with the level of organization and setup that game requires. This game, it gets bigger, but it doesn't get any harder to table, because you just are grabbing the episode box, grabbing the Elder box, grabbing your heroes and your tiles, and you're good to go. So love it. Love this system. It's a really, really cool, unique system that just deserves all its praise. So here they walk you through how that works. Choose 1 Elder one and 1 episode box, each with their own unique components and challenges, and combine their contents to create your personal game experience. Don't let the madness take over. You start the game with insanity. This is one of the other really cool things about the game is you basically have an insanity tracker that is simultaneously your health and your kind of level. So as your insanity goes up, you get closer to going insane and losing the game, but you also are leveling up essentially and unlocking new abilities on your player board and stuff. So very, very cool. Stop the ritual. The investigators are trying to stop a ritual led by cultists that are summoning an Elder One to consume our world. And I can tell you that these different Elder boxes, these different episode boxes, they are all pretty radically different. They will come with their own unique tokens and everything, so that it's a unique gameplay experience every time you kind of combine one of these. So that means when you add one Elder box to your collection, depending on the number of episodes you have, you might be adding, 13, 14 new missions, air quote, without having to actually kind of, add a ton of components, because it's the mixing of them that creates the variance. Very, very, very cool. This campaign comes with new rules to introduce plug-and-play enemies, unknown monsters. You can add random sets of monsters to any episode of any season. So obviously this will just go even farther towards that randomization and that kind of variance in gameplay experience and whatnot. And then you're getting unknown relics, a new arsenal of dangerous artifacts for the investigators. So they empower you at a price. As your insanity builds, they become convinced that the relics are more than simple artifacts and flip their cards to their upgraded versions. Yeah, so you start with the Sinister book, which maybe is useful. It turns into the Necronomicon, which probably fucks you up. So here's where we get into the real meat of why this feels like a little bit of a return to form to me. And that is because, first of all, they are just piling content into this thing. And I know it's really hard to talk about this stuff, unlocks and stretch goals and stuff, because everyone knows that there's a level of this that is kind of pre-planned, and almost all of it is pre-planned, and that this was what they were going to give you no matter what and whatnot. But that still doesn't change whether or not it's a substantial amount or a good deal. And so right off the bat, you're getting just so many new investigators, and these are much more interesting than say like a new Zombicide character, because each one can be radically different. They have their own large size player boards with their own abilities, their own insanities and whatnot. So it's a substantial change getting a new character for Death May Die, which means that these add a lot more value than Survivors do in something like Zombicide, where it's just, oh, this asshole can, move 2 spaces and then hit a guy, and this guy can move out of a space that has people in it, and they're constantly reusing the same abilities and just tweaking them, and all the characters become a little samey. I feel like the characters in Cthulhu Death May Die have a lot more variance, and so getting a bunch of them is not a bad thing. You're also getting 3, I believe at this point, lost episode boxes, which is just more monsters to face, more missions and modifiers and such. Tons of stuff here. Brown Jenkin. I don't know what the hell that is. The Color Out of Space. Ooh, that is odd. Lost episode 6. These are all Kickstarter exclusives. You're getting more monsters, which are going to be super useful because you'll be able to use them as the kind of random monsters that we talked about earlier. And you're getting unknown monster cards. So you're getting basically like an upgrade pack that lets you use all the stuff from the previous games with the new rules. which again adds a ton of value. So, and then you get your add-ons. Nothing too crazy with the add-ons. Basically, they're letting you buy the previous game's stretch goal box, which this is not a bad deal given the amount of content here and the fact that you probably pay 3 times as much as this on Kickstarter. The Riley Rising, the giant Cthulhu miniature, I want to say this is the exact same price as it was in the original campaign. Very close, if not. You can buy the Animal Allies add-on or another Elder One figure with the associated cards and whatnot. And your mileage may vary on whether this is worth it or not. I certainly wouldn't rush out to buy anything that isn't Kickstarter exclusive here. So you can see this is all the stuff that's in the core box. So you can see tons of heroes, cultists, the Serpent Men. These look awesome. Whatever the hell those are. The Fisher from Outside. Gug. And then you get Tasagaguta, the amorphous Scion. More monsters. Azathoth. And so this gets to what I was kind of saying about, while this is another core box, there's not a ton of repeated materials. This stuff is all brand new. All new. You get an extra storyboard, which maybe isn't of use. The unknown board is new. The tiles are all new. The investigators are all new. You get just extra dice, which anybody could always get some use out of, and extra technical tokens and stuff and bases. And then the rest of this stuff is pretty much all new. And some tokens that are probably repeated. So really not a bad deal for standalone expansion. So what are the other things that I think makes this campaign stand out from CMON's recent campaigns? First of all, right off the bat, click here to play the demo on Tabletop Simulator. This is something that I've ranted about in a half dozen different campaigns that CMON has run. They have these Tabletop Simulator demos. We know it because we see content creators playing the game with the designers. There's really very little reason to not make this stuff publicly available so that people can try your game before they commit hundreds of dollars to it. And here they're doing the right thing and they made it available. I think this is awesome, and I applaud them for doing so. Another thing that they've done is actually produced materials for this. This isn't just a bunch of renders or whatever. I mean, the images are, but there are physical prototypes of this game out there on channels much larger than mine, where they actually have what looks like pretty close to production quality demo copies of the game. So you can see what you're really getting instead of just seeing a shitty 3D rendered image of something that might look close to what you're eventually going to get. So that's another thing that has pissed me off about CMON as of late. And again, they're changing course and they're doing it the right way and getting that stuff out there. Even if it is only to, like the most gigantic of channels like Quackalope, at least it's out there and you can see what this stuff actually looks like. Got some painted miniatures here. And then, again, just like tons and tons and tons of stretch goals. The optional buys are not insane. The pricing for the kind of old stuff that they're reselling is actually pretty reasonable. I mean, they could easily have kicked this price up by $30 and probably nobody would have said anything. But you get the sense that they're actually just like really proud of the game, and they just want to help people get their hands on this stuff. Same thing with this. Like I said, I think this is the exact same price that it was, and so they're not. And that was a few years ago, so they're not trying to gouge you necessarily on that. Shipping. This is the one gigantic caveat to my kind of love fest for this campaign, is that CMON will F you on the shipping. If you back this, just buy into that idea, basically. Tack on $20 at least to whatever they tell you they think it might cost. So they're saying here, U.S. hub most states, 33 to 45. It could be more than 60. Who knows? It really just depends on when they wake up that day, how much they feel like adding for arbitrary reasons, just to kind of stick it to you. They do break out the shipping for Riley Rising separately too, which is nice, but again, these numbers are meaningless because they can just charge whatever they want. They've shown us that before in the Marvel Zombies campaign, where they gave us a screen that looked exactly like this, waited until everyone confirmed their pledges on the pledge manager, locking them in, and then, or waited until the campaign ended so that they're locked in, and then said, oh, shit, you know what? Shipping's actually twice as expensive as we told you it was. Sorry, see ya. So you got to factor that into the cost too. But even with that factored in, it may well be that this is still a good value. And either way, it's still a move in the right direction for CMON and for how they run their campaigns and whatnot, because they seem like they're kind of responding to some of the feedback that they've gotten. These games need to be farther along before they put these damn campaigns up. Marvel Zombies was just like a fucking gleam in somebody's eye when they put that campaign up. There was nothing physical anywhere. It was all horseshit and smoke and mirrors and tabletop simulator demos run by shill channels that get paid to do this stuff. This is much different. This is they're putting their kind of money where their mouth is. You could see gameplay, even just the updates. You go through the updates and you're looking at all the new characters that they're adding. They're going in, and this is a bad example. Let's try maybe this one. God damn it. Come on, CMON. Work with me here. They're going through and they're really adding detail. They're showing you, for a lot of these characters at least, they're actually showing you their player board and what they do instead of this, which is more general. It's just like I just hate this. They know what they're going to have them do. They have it spelled out here. Signature skill allows them to report frame run, the cause of stress, blah, blah, blah. I've seen in other updates on this campaign where they're actually showing you a picture of the player board, and so you really get to understand what it is that they do. Like this, showing you the cards, the exact cards. This is what Midden of the Cat does, so that you're not guessing. It's not always this generic, just like read this wall of text and maybe get a sense of how this guy works. Here, we know what Luna the dog does. Investigators being attacked in the same space as Luna have 2 free rerolls. It just lets you know like what you're buying. So I like to see things moving in this direction. I definitely like this crazed version of Titus the Chimp. That is terrifying. Raving Titus. So overall, I think this campaign looks awesome. It's a step in the right direction. It's reasonably priced. Factor in the CMON shipping tax just based off of what fucking quarter they're in their fiscal year. They might just decide to tack another $30 on the shipping. But overall, this is a positive video. I'm being positive about CMON, and I think that this campaign looks pretty dope. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you later.